We are going to kick off our, I believe it is our fourth annual Juan Seguin School reunion. And we are going to have a wonderful program here for you today. And we are just so excited that you are all here and that we are kicking this off. So I'm going to hand it over to Darren Dunn. He is a member here at Spirit of Joy Lutheran Church. You may recognize his voice from KWD. So he is going to be our MC for this event, and I want to welcome him to the podium.
Pastor Megan, thank you so much. Thank you to all of you for being here today. It's always great to look out and see all these smiling faces across the room, especially on a day like today. This is a special moment and a special opportunity for our congregation to join together with all of those who know and understand how important Juan Seguin Lawana was to this community and how we want to continue to honor that memory. So again, thank you for being here today. We're going to begin our program. I think it's important that we start by acknowledging that we are standing on indigenous lands. This is an important note. These are the lands of the Sana and the Lipan Apache and the Tonkawa, the Humanos, and of course the Coatliccan. It is important for us to recognize the history of colonization that led to these lands being seized from those who lived on them at that time. As Lutherans, we believe in calling a thing what it is. And in repentance, if we are going to be honest about it, about the history of this school in which we are sitting. One that was used for segregation before it was used as an elementary school. And then we also need to be honest that this land was taken from those who originally lived on it. So we begin our program today repenting of all of the ways that colonization and segregation have harmed those who have come before us, and by recommitting ourselves to work for justice for all people. Well, ladies and gentlemen, one of the reasons we're here, of course, is to recognize Juan Seguin and its legacy here, its complicated legacy here in this community. You know, Guadalupe County was home to a number of rural schools for the area's burgeoning population of students of Mexican descent. In addition to those already living here, immigrants came from Mexico in the early 20th century, fleeing for safety during that country's revolution. In 1902, the local school board, under the leadership of the city of Seguin, passed a motion to establish a separate school for Mexican children. Juan Seguin School opened in 1903. It was an early model of a segregated urban school for children of Mexican heritage. Students first met in a home owned by William Griffenstein, whom the Seguin City Council paid monthly for the house's use. In 1906, William Bloomberg arranged with the City Council to build a schoolhouse on North Pecan Street, later East Cedar Street. By 1915, the city began to make efforts to secure a permanent site for the school. In 1916, an independent school district was established, and along with this effort, a bond for raising money to purchase a site for the Mexican-American school was put to a vote. Though defeated, a bond the next year would be successful. And in 1918, the Mexican Public School, Ward Number 2, as it was then known, was built on the corner of Dolly and Medlin Streets. Grades 1 through 6 attended the school. More classrooms were added to the original one-room structure, and by 1948, the school had several rooms, an office and an auditorium. Juan Seguin School merged with the Lizzie M. Burgess campus back in 1971. Before the campus became one school again in 1975. Juan Seguin Elementary School closed in 2010. However, its impact remains felt through the generations of students that have attended and its success as an institution where Hispanic students received an education. I wanted to let that history sink in just a little bit. as we move on with our program. We're going to make a slight change in our schedule today. Won't impact you at all, but it will hold up our entertainment for just a second. I want to move up our scholarship presentation. We have been blessed to offer scholarships as part of this program each year, and so I want to invite Karen Wallach to come up and to present our scholarship.
Before I start the scholarship introduction, I would like to thank the Luana ladies who help us every year get ready for this day. Gloria Pacheco and Diana Martinez, and we thoroughly miss Sylvia Young, better known as Toby, who passed away earlier this year, but thank you so much for what you do to help us make this possible. Okay, Danielle, why don't you come on up? And why don't you stand here? Why don't you go stand with her so she doesn't feel by herself up there? Okay, I am happy to introduce this 2025 scholarship student for Spirit of Joy. This is the fourth year that we have done this, and I guess I've done something backwards. I'm left-handed, so after we do Danielle, we have some information from our past recipients that we want to share with you, but she needs to get to work. She has a 2 o'clock time to be at HEB working, so she looked a little overdressed for HEB for me, but okay. Okay, as part of the scholarship committee, it is really an honor to read the applications we get. I think we had 22 or so this year, and every time, I'll speak for myself, every time I read an application, so okay, this is the good one. Okay, this is a good one. Oh, shoot, this is a good one. So we had a very, very nice group of scholarship applicants, and yet this young lady rose to the top. And she said in her statement, growing up, I've always found myself navigating gaps, whether that be the space between my teeth, the absence of representation, or the internal barriers created by stereotypes. My journey has not been without challenges, but those very challenges have forged my resilience and ignited my passion for change. Pretty powerful statement if you ask me. Okay, I'm skipping that thing. So Danielle will be graduating this month as the senior class president for 2025 with a GPA over 101. She's ranked 5th in her class of 460. As well, she will be receiving her Associates of Arts in Multidisciplinary Studies from St. Philip's College with a 4-point GPA. She has been president of her class all 4 years of high school. That's quite an accomplishment there. Danielle also chairs the Superintendent's Student Advisory Committee. She's a youth leader in her church, Texas State leader of the Society of Black Students in Healthcare, 2-time state finalist in the Texas Science and Engineering Fair, the public relations officer for the National Honor Society, Texas Girl State representative, chair of the Community Service Committee of Seguin High School Student Council, as well as serving as their treasurer. In her spare time, she's a 4-year varsity letterman on the high school tennis team, treasurer of LULAC, and she dominated the paint for her high school basketball team. She also played for her high school volleyball team as the middle hitter. And incredibly, the list, this is a summary here. Danielle has participated in an amazing array of benevolences, including the ongoing coordination of drives that have delivered sustaining supplies to underprivileged students in the Republic of Ghana. She has collaborated in creating a children's book to raise the awareness of sickle cell anemia entitled Captain Blue vs. the Red Crescent Moon. I just happened to notice a Facebook post yesterday that has a picture of Danielle with the flags or banners from each of the 20 universities that she has been accepted in. That's a bad sentence, sorry about that. And I think I read the scholarship offerings that have been, if you totaled all those things, she won't get all of those. But those schools offered her more than $1 million worth of scholarship funds. Unfortunately, Spirit of Joy cannot make that $2 million, but Danielle plans to attend the University of Texas in Austin. No? Majoring in computer science in order to be a software engineer specializing in app development. She's already attended UT's Computer Science Academy as well as Rice University's Elite Tech Camp. I am so proud and happy to introduce our scholarship winner, and Pastor Megan will do the honors, given to Danielle Nyame. One of the things that, as a scholarship committee, we thought, we give a scholarship every year. Well, what happens to those kids their sophomore years or junior years? So we have two of our recipients that have sent us a little video, so you can see how these, well, they're all ladies, aren't they? Yeah, have done with their scholarships. So Chris has something that's going to come up on the.
Hello everyone, my name is Anastasia. I was honored to receive the Spirit of Joy Scholarship my senior year of high school. This scholarship helped me to begin my journey here at UT Austin, where I'm currently studying computer science. I'm also currently pursuing my minor in robotics and have been part of several research programs and laboratories here at UT Texas Advanced Computing Center and Texas Robotics. Receiving this scholarship meant a world to me, not just financially, but emotionally. It was a sign that someone believed in me. This scholarship gave me a chance to focus on my education, grow as a researcher, and work on incredible robotics projects. My advice to the next recipient is to never let self-doubt stop you from trying. You're capable of more than you think, and this opportunity is just the beginning. This scholarship is an incredible honor, and I hope it brings you the same strength, hope, and growth as it gave to me. Thank you again for supporting students like me. Your belief helps build futures. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Isabella Gomez, and I was a 2024 Spirit of Joy Scholarship recipient. I would first like to give my thanks for the Scholarship Committee for asking me to speak. I am unfortunately unable to attend the event, so I hope this video helps. As of right now, I'm in my first year of college at UTSA as a marketing major. I am also a part of the Honors College and Business Honors College here. College has been a wonderful experience for me. I have learned many skills that I have learned how to apply to my day-to-day life, which has led me to get a job. I have met intelligent people who challenge me to always critically think and to do my absolute best. However, it was thanks to the scholarship committee that I was able to have this experience. I was able to enjoy my time at college without having to worry about how I was going to pay. So once again, I would like to thank the scholarship committee for hearing my story and choosing me to be the 2024 scholarship recipient. I know that whoever becomes the next Spirit of Joy scholarship recipient will thrive both professionally and personally, just like I have. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day. Bye.
Impressive, right? Give them a round of applause and our new winner, Danielle. You know, a big part of the reason why the school existed, of course, was to try to provide an educational foundation and a pathway to hopefully what would be a better life. There have been so many impressive people that have come through these doors and who continue to be produced right here within our local school district. So I'm very thankful for that. I'm thankful for all of you in this room for showing up today and showing your support for what has come in the past and what lies ahead. I want to say special thanks to Mayor Donna Dodgen for being here and for always supporting these endeavors, and we're very grateful for that. Well, by the way, I know Danielle had to leave with her friends, but she keeps some pretty impressive company. The young lady that she was sitting with is now a state champion in the 200 meters. She set a personal record yesterday and is the state champion in the 200 meters. She finished second in the 100 meters. This is pretty exceptional stuff. So these are Seguin kids doing amazing things, and they deserve a round of applause. So will you give them that? By the way, her name is Daisha Schuler, and we appreciate them all being here in support of Danielle today. All right, we postponed our entertainment just a little bit, but we're going to get to that now. I will have the honor of giving you a more thorough introduction of our special guest speaker, but I want to see if I can get Dr. Yvonne de la Rosa to come up and introduce who we're going to be seeing as part of our entertainment before we get to her speech a little bit later on. So Dr. Yvonne de la Rosa has just done amazing work over at Teatro de Artes de Juan Seguin. You know, they recently celebrated their 40th anniversary, and I am just amazed to see the work that's been done in the past, the foundation that was built, and that Yvonne continues to build upon as they go into the future. So Yvonne, if you will come up and give us an introduction to our entertainment.
Good afternoon. Oh, is there anybody here? Good afternoon. Don't forget I was a teacher for 20 years, so good afternoon. So excited to be here today. Thank you for inviting me to join you all. I've been here all 4 years. This is my 4th year attending with you guys, and it gets better and better as we go on. But I'm here in 2 capacities, so I'll put on the Teatro hat first, and then I'll take it off, and you'll get to really see who Yvonne is. But the Teatro hat that I wear is one that's very personal to me, in that I am the person that leads Teatro as the executive director, but I am also the only person that has started with Teatro in 1982, has gone through the program, returned back to take over the program, and now lead the program. So that's kind of, it's just something that I always carry with me, because I know that I think my mom and dad did this with one of those swords and said, "You're the one." So I'm happy to be here. Happy to be here. So who have we brought for you today? We normally bring you youth to come and perform, but as they said, we've had a big weekend. We had our 43rd annual recital on Friday, which lasted up until about 10 o'clock throughout the storm. And I'll tell you, we had a lot of students come in sopping wet, but we found fans and we made do, and families were excited. We also had a very important event yesterday, which is the NEA Our Town Mexican American Art Unveiling. We've unveiled 3 installments for the National Endowment for the Arts. One is our Native American exhibit, which you can find at the Seguin Art League right now. We have our African American installment that can be found at the Seguin Heritage Museum. And we just unveiled, like I said, our Mexican American art yesterday at the Teatro's Cultural Arts Center. So I want to invite you guys to come. We'll be open on Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays from 4 until 6, so people can join us there and come and see the paintings. We have a private event on Monday, but after that, we'll be open for people to come. The work that I do, and with the PhD that I got, that I earned, is that I work with community professionals and adults. So when they asked me to come back and teach dancing after being gone from dancing for about 15 years, there was a group of youth that now became adults that I taught when they were kids. And they said, "We miss dancing." And I said, "I'm sorry." But I told him, if you bring me 10 students, I'll lace my shoes back up and I'll go. There were 22 the day that we started in 2019. And I thought to myself, they miss it. We've had everybody from my partner when I was a child, John Reese, come back, bringing his wife. We also had people coming in from Austin that have left Seguin but are living in Austin to come back. And every year I keep saying, this is the last year I'm going to put my shoes on. Because I think the adults that are back here, they know that I put my shoes on and it's just like I'm floating on air again. I will not wear a skirt. They know that too. So I do everything with my arms so that they can learn. But what brings me great joy and pride is that these individuals, no matter where they come from, no matter their race, religion, education, they come for the art form of dance, and they come to feel free. Because when you dance, you're free. You feel free. Your feet are free. Your mind is free. You're not worrying. I think I make them worry because we have a recital, and I'm like, we got to do it again, do it again, do it again until we get it right. But they understand, and they remember what it feels like to not have a care in the world for the hour and a half that I see them on a Sunday. So I brought to you, special for you guys, our 2 adult classes that we have for you today. Our first class will be dancing a dance from the state of Sinaloa called El Toro Mambo. You're gonna love it. And the music is vibrant, and if you enjoy what you see, clap, you shout, can you do a grito? And it doesn't matter if it's a good one, just one anyway. Feel free to give a grito as well. I bring to you El Toro Mambo. I'm gonna give him a second to breathe. But can you imagine me dancing with a skirt on doing that? No, you can't. But they learned, didn't they? They did learn. They did learn. So what I want them to do is I want them to tell you who they are. And I do this with the youth because it's good for public speaking. But I think it's more important that you know what they do for a living, because they do some very important work. So I'm going to start with Micaela.
My name is Micaela Aranda, and I work as a coordinator for Children's Advocacy Center in San Marcos. My name is Danielle, and I hold my license for property and casualty in Texas and work for a charity deal. My name is Christina Crow. I'm a retired elementary school teacher, and I teach violin at Teatro.
I'm Diana Nieto, and I'm the office manager at the Seguin Police Department. My name is Denise Guerra, and I work at Seguin Fabricators, and I'm document control.
Clap a little louder for these guys. They get to spend every other Sunday with me for an hour and a half. And sometimes we laugh a lot, and sometimes we work a lot, and sometimes we have a good balance of work and laughter, but it's always a good time with this group of women. So that was our beginner, intermediate, adult class, and so we have now an advanced class for you. Some of them have been dancing. They've danced before. Some have danced with teatro. Some danced elsewhere. So they're going to be bringing you two dances from the state of Veracruz. They'll be dancing La Cumbamba and El Zapateado Veracruzano.
Yo sin querer me empiezo a mover, porque es un ritmo que da picazón.
Now, I will give them a minute to breathe. When we were rehearsing this, they're like, I don't know if we can do this. I'm like, we can do this. We'll give you a little bit of time, but we can do this. It's fun challenging our adults because sometimes we forget what we can do because we stay in a box until we're pushed to do a little bit more. And that's when the true happiness comes, when you can say, wow, we did this. And after the recital on Friday, I watched them walk off and I said, see, you could do this. They're going to introduce themselves to you all.
Me, okay. My name is Bianca Perez. I'm an English professor at Texas State University. My name is Emily Holtz. I'm a patient care coordinator for Guadalupe Family Health. Oh, excuse me. And I'm a part-time photographer as well.
My name is Berta Rodriguez, and I work for the city of Luling and also in San Marcos Avenue.
My name is Lauren Flores, and I am an early reading interventionist with Comal ISD.
So what I will do is I'll just share that Emily started in our programming when we were in the schools in the 1980s. We brought residencies into Jefferson Elementary, and she remembers loving it so much. And then when we started adult classes, she said, I was part of the Folklorico at Seguin ISD. And I thought, that's amazing. So welcome home.
As they're making their way out, give another big round of applause. That was outstanding. What an amazing vision and leadership of Dr. De La Rosa, and so grateful that she allowed the adults to come and perform for us today. I want to introduce to you someone who you're now well acquainted with. You've seen so much of her work, but she's so much more than that, and I'm eager to hear her share her story with us today. Let me tell you a little bit about Dr. Yvonne De La Rosa. Yvonne is a Seguin native and the executive director of Teatro. She holds a bachelor's of exercise sports science from Southwest Texas State University and holds a master's of education with an emphasis in sports and leisure management from Texas State University. She is a graduate of Texas State University, where she earned her doctorate of philosophy with a major in adult, professional, and community education. Her research study explored the struggle and resiliency of Mexican-American community in Seguin. Her research explored the struggle and resiliency of a Mexican-American community in Seguin as they attempted to maintain, teach, and celebrate their Mexican-American roots, customs, knowledge, and celebrations through community education. She aimed to provide insight into public pedagogy as well as the way it relates to teaching, learning, and leading as a means to record the growth and change within the community. She studied how Teatro was a vehicle for cultural sustainability and helps youth and families engage in a process of identity formation through public pedagogy as well as community building and development. Through cultural remembrance and sustainability, though cultural remembrance and sustainability are necessary for future generations to remember and celebrate their ancestors, they are not sufficient when looking at the formations and sustainability of communities that have been historically, culturally, and spiritually colonized. Yvonne is a founding member of the Ballet Folklorico de la Rosa and Mariachi Juvenal. She also served as the artistic director for the Ballet Folklorico de la Rosa and artist in education in numerous school districts. Yvonne is a 22-year seasoned educator in secondary and higher education. She has dedicated more than half of her life to the mission and goals of Teatro. Yvonne served as Teatro's program coordinator for 20 years until she was elevated to the title of executive director, a position for that organization. Dr. Della Rosa invites you to read her dissertation, not right now, but she invites you, it'll take a while, right? Read her dissertation, Ahora puedo respirar. Now I can breathe. And she invites the reader to breathe together. Put your hands together for our guest speaker today, Dr. Yvonne De La Rosa.
So let me start with that title. You know, for me as a young person, growing up in Seguin, I had many realities. And as a youth, you don't see certain things, but as you get older, you start to see those certain things. So as I sat at the dining room table writing at 3 or 4 in the morning, because it was quiet and nobody needs anything from me at that time, Teatro wasn't needing me at that time, the family wasn't needing me at that time, I kept thinking, now I can breathe. Right now I can breathe. But the minute everybody woke up and there's a message coming in and I need you for this and can you do this and can you join me here at this luncheon, and I knew I needed time to breathe. But in order for me to breathe, I had to give voice to the people who were voiceless. And those people were my ancestors. I'm not here because I worked really hard. I'm here because they worked really hard. I'm here because Miss Pacheco worked really hard. I'm here because Diana worked really hard. My grandparents, my great-grandparents worked very, very hard. I did not pick a piece of cotton in a field. I didn't work in a coal mine. I did not carry coal from the valleys of San Luis Potosí to the top to be sold. I did nothing. I didn't mine silver. I did none of that. They did that so I could be in front of you today. So now they can breathe. Because the fruits of their labor stand in front of you today. 0.9% have a PhD. 0.9% of Latinas have a PhD. 0.9. Very few of us. Very few of us. And when people say, why are you still in Seguin? Why are you still there? You can do so many things and go so many places and do so much elsewhere. Why are you still there? And I tell them, I'm here for my people, so that the children of Seguin can see somebody like me and say, I can be a doctor too. Absolutely they can. That's why I stay in Seguin, and I love my hometown. I love what it stands for. I love the people who are here. I know the struggles. I've been in the struggles. I witnessed struggles, but I'm still here. And you weren't going to run us out of town. We were going to always stay. So we're still here. My parents were born in Crystal City, Texas, the birthplace of the movement of La Raza Unida. They come from a place of advocacy. They came from a place that knew that there were always 2 different educational systems. And what I'll share about my dad is my dad went to school in Crystal City, Texas. My mother went to school in Catholic school in Mexico. My mother was born in the United States, but at the age of 3, they moved to Mexico with her dad. My grandmother moved back with him over there in Mexico. And so she was raised there. She went to school in Mexico. She went to private school because that was something that our grandfather deemed was necessary. And therefore, her 3 children went to Catholic school. But boy, did she get heck for it. She was a public school teacher sending her kids to private school. But nobody understood the value of the faith-based learning that she wanted us to have and instill in us for generations. That's why we went to private school, not to be segregated from everybody else, is because being Catholic was very important. Our father, who was born and raised in Crystal City, they had two different schools. They had the grammar school and the airport school. Now, the airport school is where they had camps, encampments for the Chinese, German, and Italians that they were picking up in the 1950s, 60s timeframe, late 1950s. So it became a school, and they called it the airport school. My dad went to the airport school. Who do you think went to the airport school? I'm asking so you can answer. Who went to the airport school? Minorities. Once they saw my dad, who was 6 years old and probably as tall as I was, and weighed about 150 pounds, my dad firmly believes that a coach saw him and said he gets to move to grammar school. So they moved him. He didn't know why. He left all his friends at the airport school and was moved to grammar school. To grammar school. And that education was better, and he knew it. Books were different. Seats were different. Desks were different. School looked different. So he knew that somebody, whether it was a coach or a teacher, that said he needs to go to grammar school. And he did. And he got a different education than his friends who didn't. And a lot of his friends were drafted to Vietnam, and our dad was not. And he always reminds us, as his children, to always remember our veterans, but especially our Vietnam veterans, because he said, I didn't have to go, but they did, and they paid the price for us. So remember that. Born in Seguin and going to St. James, I was so excited. I went to school with Deanna's children. I think I even went to school with Gloria's children. They might have been a little older than me. But what I did know is that Our Lady of Guadalupe also, at one time, had a Catholic school. And when I talked to those that went to that Catholic school, they did not understand that there was segregation because their parents put them at Our Lady of Guadalupe school to not feel or see that. So when I asked them, well, what was it like? Well, we didn't experience that. We didn't go. We didn't go to public school. We went to private school. For me to go to Catholic school, I loved it. And if somebody asked me if I would do it again, I would do it again. I loved Catholic school. But I also know that my dad said at the age of 6, you're not going to be, at the 6th grade, you won't be going to Catholic school. You're an athlete and you need to go find something to do in the arts and be an athlete, so you're going to go to public school. And that was something my mom had to compromise. And if you know Vicky, it's hard to compromise sometimes with her. But she compromised with my dad. Things that I experienced in school was the first thing in the 6th grade when I went to see my counselor and they had put me in my classes. My mother was no longer a teacher at Briesemeister at the time, and she said, bring me your schedule when you get your schedule. There was no meet the teacher night that I recall. I remember going to the first day of school, you go to the desk, here's your schedule, and you walk your schedule. I remember bringing home the schedule to my mom, and she looked at it, and they had me in all regular classes. And she said, you belong in the GT classes. So tomorrow morning, I'll go early, and I'll schedule a meeting to meet with a counselor to get you into the classes. That counselor told my mom, Yvonne has no track record of being in GT. She says, of course she doesn't. She went to Catholic school, and they don't do that at Catholic school. And they said, so Vicky, she can't be in GT. She says, well, I know the law, and if I want my child in GT classes, I can put them in there. So she did. So it was hard. You know, I wasn't ready for the rigor, I think, in the 6th grade of maybe being in GT because they had all gone to school together. And they were in all the classes together, and here you have an outsider. And I'm the outsider. But I'm one of the outsiders that looks this color. And I remember thinking, am I the only one? And it was like that for many years. I recall going to 9th grade, and I remember that in the 9th grade, my counselor, who is still not a counselor, but still alive, pulled me into the office and she said, you don't belong in those classes, the advanced classes. So I'm gonna pull you. And I said, why? You don't belong there. Well, Coach Wallace, if you knew Coach Wallace, he was our basketball coach, I had said, Yvonne, go let them know you need to be in first period, which was varsity basketball as a freshman. I didn't understand that then, but I did later. And when he said that and I told that teacher, you need to put me in this class also, or in first period, that counselor said, but that's varsity. Okay. So there was always an obstacle in my way. And I just looked at them and I would say, okay, find my mom and say, can you help me navigate this challenge? Navigating that challenge was somebody who said I wasn't good enough to go to college, but that had rose to the expectations that my mother had for me, and that educator didn't have that expectation of me. What I find right now is a lot of our educators don't have those high expectations for our youth when we should. When people say, but they're poor, poor in what? I think you need to think about that. What are they poor in? Are you talking about money? Are you talking about wealth? Because I know that our people are rich in love, support, not just from the family, but from these people in this room, that if they need something, we'll figure it out. So the part that we need to remember is don't have that deficit thinking of our youth. Help them rise to that occasion, because that's what they need. I remembered my mom telling that counselor, if you put Yvonne in regular classes, Yvonne will be regular. If you put Yvonne in accelerated classes, Yvonne will be accelerated. She says, that's how our youth work. What is your expectation of them? And in all the years that I taught in public school, I helped them rise to the occasion. Just as I do with the dancers that you see up here. I don't know if I can do it. Yeah, we can do it. It's gonna take us a little bit longer, but we can get it done. Obstacles are just obstacles. Our mother taught us to find the solution, however we could. And we did. Many times, we called on our friends' parents, their grandparents, and some of the elders that sit in this room to ask them for advice. Our support system is just not in the family. It comes through our colleagues. It comes from people that we meet at HEB. It comes from the people that we go to church with. Support doesn't just look like family support. I don't know how many times I hear our youth don't have any family support. Well, what I hear is they're working 12-hour shifts and they can't make it to the program at 4 o'clock or meet the teacher at 4 o'clock because they can't get off work. Because if they get off work, they lose the 2 hours. And those 2 hours is what they use to go buy groceries at HEB. That's what I hear. What I hear is, how do we find solutions for the parent that cannot come at the 4 o'clock hour? And we close at 6 from handing out schedules when they get off work. And then you hear, Johnny Joe's mom never comes. So why don't they come? Why are we not investigating why are they not coming? And why don't we make some changes? We in this room can help the district make these changes. Not just here, everywhere. But my mom says work is started at home first, and this is home. So how do we help them to overcome these obstacles? We must meet them where they are. I see these elders of Juan Seguin or La Juana in this building, thank you. Thank you for what you endured. When I did my dissertation, I heard many stories. I would walk out of those interviews stunned that my town that I loved hurt so many people. And then on the other side, that my town also had individuals that helped raise them up. But what hurt me the most was to understand that we were not accepted. Do you think that they would accept me today in this school? The way that I look, the way that I dress? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But because of your will, your sheer will to survive and to keep going, I'm up here. So thank you. Thank you. If nobody's ever told you thank you, I'm going to tell you thank you, because you deserve it. You deserve it. It is our elders that we need to seek counsel from to move through our next phase of these obstacles that we're going to endure in these next few years. Our youth will feel this. We will feel this. Teatro will feel this next 4 years of what's going to happen. We're already feeling this. It is up to our community to rally around the organizations that we have that take care of people. Whether it's Meals on Wheels, whether it's the Christian Cupboard, or Our Lady of Guadalupe's Food Pantry, or Teatro, or some of the other nonprofits that are going to be affected because we will not have the funding. We have to look internally. We need to stop helping outside the home. This is our home. And how can we help our people at home? On Friday at 5 p.m., we got an email from the National Endowment for the Arts that this project, the NEA Our Town Art Installment Project that we've been doing for 2 years, has terminated. As of May 31, it's done. I know my mom's watching out for us because we are finished yesterday. But we're done, and they're done. And I think about out of 57 other organizations in the whole United States, Puerto Rico, Hawaii area as well, out of all of our states, how many have finished? And how many will lose their funding? And we don't align anymore because the National Endowment for the Arts now takes care of people who are in flood zones, and it has nothing to do with art unless you're part of America 250. Celebrations of America 250. We're grateful for the money we've received from the National Endowment for the Arts. And we know those that are working there now, this is not what they wanted. So we cannot hold them accountable. We're going to have to lift them up because I can only imagine what they felt at 5 o'clock on Friday when they pressed the send button to the 57 of us here in the United States who received this grant. I talk very little about the author because I want you to know who I am. Because a lot of times you see me and you're like, there's walking teatro, there's walking teatro. But this is who I am. Somebody who takes care of our community, somebody who takes care of our youth, somebody who embraces all walks of life that walk into our building, that meet me at the grocery store, and aren't you the lady from Teatro? I don't have a name, but I know what my mom told me. She says, I know that it changed over when somebody told me, aren't you Yvonne's mom? Instead of, aren't you Vicky's daughter? She said the transition had happened. I'm here for our youth. I'm here for our elders. I'm here to celebrate everything we can, but we must take care of our people here at home. They are the most important. You guys have been amazing over the 4 years of inviting us to be here to showcase in the building that would have never accepted these dancers to be here. You've welcomed us back. You've welcomed them here. My grandmother opened milk cartons for kids because she needed something to do. She was bored at home when she retired in this very cafeteria. And my aunt, Maria Guadalupe Betancourt, who was one of the co-founders of Teatro, was a Juan Seguin elementary school teacher. And I would run down that hall constantly to help her in the summers to get her room ready for kids. This place holds a special place in my heart. It will always hold a special place in my heart. My call to action for those of you in the room that are Spirit of Joy is what's next? What's next for the Juan Seguin School? How can we commemorate their memories that they have of this school, whether it is a good memory or even one not so good? What do we do now? How can I help you move forward in your quest of making this what you envision, what your elders in this room envision? How can I be of service to you? And in turn, how can you be of service to them? Thank you for having me today. I appreciate your invitation. And remember, we're always here. We're here to be helpers and to help our city. Thank you.
Wow. Yvonne, thank you so much for sharing so much about yourself and the spirit that you bring to this community and that you share with so many. That was terrific. Thank you. Give her a round of applause again. We do have something special, a gift that we will be making to Teatro through you, Yvonne. Is it on its way? It's on its way. While we are waiting for that to come up, one of my favorite things that we do as part of this celebration, this reunion, is to invite those of you in the audience who have memories of Juan Seguin to share some of those with us today. So before we do that, I see the check sitting around. Yvonne, will you stand up? And Pastor Ming, I'll just let you present that to Yvonne. Can we get a shot of that? We want to thank you for your time and your contributions. And we know that Teatro will put that to good use. Thank you again. All right, so we want to hear from some of you from the audience who would like to share some of your stories. And I know there are many of them out there who want to share. I see some very familiar faces out there. So any of you who want to stand and share some of your experiences, some of your remembrance, good, bad, whatever that experience was, because I know Lawana meant so much to so many people in this community. And as we said earlier, it's a complicated story, but it is a story that we need to tell as often as we possibly can to share that history, to remember Lawana. Anybody out there want to share some stories? I know I heard that earlier there were some great stories about something about the creek out back, and maybe a bicycle. No? Yes? I think we need to get you to tell that story. You want to? Can you tell it from there?
Yeah, I guess I can. I'm Rick Benya. I was fortunate enough to come here my entire life through sixth grade. Because of this and my last name, I had to go to pre-primary. So when I graduated, I was actually not 18, 17, and most kids I was 19. Because even though I could read and write Spanish, or English and Spanish, because my grandma was an RN at the VA in San Antonio, she made sure we could read and write in English. By the time we were 4 or 5 years old, it was not you want to, it was you're going to. So we came here. The creek back here, it doesn't look like it used to. It doesn't look like much fun. We used to hop over the fence, pick berries and green grapes up, and you get away from the girls at that time. They were nuisances. So we had to jump over there. And the creek always had water. There was moccasins, so it's frogs and the berries. The teacher said, "Why are you guys going down there? The berries. There's snakes. There's berries." The road over here would flood when it rained hard. Gambling would flood. We'd get on our bikes, and how many of you remember running the bikes? I know a couple. I know you did. And your brother and your brothers. We would ride across the creek, pull a wheelie, and it's 4 or 5 feet deep, and it's rushing. And we'd try to pop a wheelie and get across. We weren't stupid. We had 2 guys with a rope as free bent. So if you got knocked off your bike, you would grab the rope. You hope you grabbed the rope, otherwise you kept on going. And you would end up by birches. So, I mean, you make that, it was fun. The teachers didn't see it that way. It was a great time because there was one guy, Jerry, like a lot of them, he could make it across. We did it with a secret, but we found out later he had a bigger back wheel, so he could make it across. But we do it. Did you ever do it? Sure did. Yeah. Did you catch a rope? No, we floated around the room. Maybe once. But that was part of the fun. But for me, I'm a Vietnam vet. So playing with the snakes and the berries and stuff, got to Vietnam, see the snakes swim by, but there was no berries. So it was like, been here, done that. I know your cousin's snake. But it was a good time. It was fun. That is one of the good memories I have, is the friendships I made, and I've lost some of those friends in the last few years. But it was fun doing those crazy things that kids today would not even think about. For us, that's all we had. We didn't have little boxes to play with or nothing like that. But hey, that was life. And 71 years later, I'm still standing. So
Thank you. Our friend Luis Quirez, who, by the way, Luis proudly served on the school board here in Seguin for how many years? 11 years as president, 24 years or so, so come on up.
Back in 1980, I had a real bad car accident. They told me I was only going to survive 3 months. They told my wife, but God gave me that opportunity, and I devoted that opportunity into education. I always remember the late Jim Barnes, Miss Vicky La Rosa, which I care a lot for, and Mr. Homer de la Rosa. They all invited me to run. I remember Kalita Bird talking to me, and Fred Bird. They came in, had a meeting at my office, and I made a decision. And I never knew that I was going to stay in the school board for 24 and a half years. And they kept on re-electing me president for 11 years. But my history in Seguin, I have a lot of history in Seguin, including Juan Seguin. I grew up with Mr. Perez, Richard Peña, Miss Pacheco, the other lady next to her, the Carrillo family. And I have a lot of great memories. And before I get started, your speech hit my heart. And thank you for explaining a lot of the things that were explained to you. We got involved with a dissertation of Dr. Yvonne de la Rosa. But getting back, who am I? Where did I come from? I'm a descendant of Jose de la Bon. According to my grandfather, we had the Spanish land grant that was lost. It was acquired by somebody else, but we had it. Right up the road here 509 Dolly. I grew up. I grew up there. At 6 years old, Ruben and I would play riding bicycles with Serapio Herrera, with Richard Pena, and with many others. Going down here, there was a store they used to call, is it La Plan, ¿verdad? La Plan. It was owned by the Sainz family. My great-grandmother and my great-great-grandma lived in this area. My grandfather lived in 509. My Uncle Eugene Guerrero lived here. My grandfather's brother, Daniel Reyes. Guess who they used to work for? Phil Medlin's father. And the Sagerts here. I got some deep, deep roots in Seguin. But I was very fortunate to have learned that from my grandparents, listening to them. In 1959, I remember we had the first television, black and white, and we used to put it out in the window, and people would come in from the neighborhoods to see Gene Autry, Roy Rogers. You know, there's a lot of great memories here for me. And I'm glad, Darren, that you've allowed me this opportunity. And you, the people of Spirit of Joy, I'm glad y'all bought this building. Because it means a lot to a lot of us that went to school. It means a lot because here's where I started my education. You know, I started working since 7 years old, shining shoes. And I remember there were times that I made more money than my father did, shining shoes. And that's how they used to pay us $1.25 an hour. They used to pay me $50. But where I beat everybody else was I went out to tips, shining shoes. And you know what? I'm still talking to people and having to sell. But again, I want to thank you for the opportunity, Darren, for letting me use your microphone. And I'm glad I'm still alive. And I have a lot of great memories of this great and wonderful place. And I just got to say something. There was a well right behind my grandfather's house that everybody used. There was another well, Tia Dominga's house, that everybody used. And then here, before they even built this high school, we called it our high school, La Juana. But before we built it, I got a chance to see. I got a chance to play in La Cascajera. There's so many beautiful things. The violence, it was zero. I don't remember no violence growing up. But you gotta remember, I was brought up during the 60s, 50s, 60s, where there was a peace movement. Nobody wanted to fight. Everybody wanted peace. And that's where I'm from. And still to this day, I believe in peace. I believe in love. I have no enemies. I care for everybody. And I'm a Christian. Thank you very much. May God bless you.
Ruben, you want to come up? Yeah, okay, that'll work.
I'm a lawyer, so I can talk all day. No, there's so many memories cascading of standing here and listening to people talk. And I want to thank the Spirit of Joy Church for giving me an opportunity to reunite. I would thank Dr. Rosa and her family for making all this happen to the Dr. So many memories come to mind. But I was born and raised over here at 728 Jones. Grandmother lived right over here. My field was right over there. We went to the line. I went to the park science class right there in the 6th grade right there. I went to Creek River as well. So when I started school, I was supposed to graduate in 1970. But then, as many people known when I was in 11th grade. I had a car wreck playing music for the Golden Hearts. We were coming back from Brooklyn and Abilene in Grace, Texas. We had a wreck. Cecil, the singer, got killed. Really bad. A lot of people may not know this. As a result of that accident, I spent 3 months in traction in the hospital in San Antonio. And then I spent 10 months in a body cast here at 17 years old. And when I say body cast, I mean body cast. So my mother and dad. Took care of that. So I just told them. Anyway, we saw my junior year, and on my senior year of high school. I went back 2 years later and still graduated. But as I said, I was scheduled to graduate in 70, but then in the second grade, I skipped the second grade. So they advanced me to graduate in 69. But when I had the wreck, I got behind because I was so advanced in high school. And then I went back and made it up in 1 year. So I still graduated on time in 1970. But when I had high school reunions, I go to 69 because I was really But as I said, I can tell so many stories, but there's so many heartfelt memories coming from the school. I remember going to dinner with Miss Vance, and I went to Miss Bear, and I remember Miss Bear texted after school one day, and I was like, oh my God, I'm in trouble, I'm not going to be parent. So the reason she kept us after school was so we would take kind of like advanced classes in the first grade, and we were able to put all the classes started. There was only about 4 or 5 of us who passed it, and we were the ones that would skip to the third, we skipped the second. So that's what made me every time. I got to tell this story. I just told it. I'm a retired federal prosecutor. I'm also retired assistant district attorney. In order to get a job as a federal prosecutor, you have to have FBI clearance. So I would meet with the FBI to interview for my clearance. And this factor that wasn't really find it very interesting. The FBI agent says, when did you get here? And I said, well, I got here in 77. Oh, okay. And where are your parents? And what part of Mexico is that? Means by San Antonio. You said you got here in 77. I got Houston in 77. Well, I don't understand you mean you got here in Houston 77. I said, yeah, I went to Houston by San Antonio. Well, how often you go visit your relatives in Mexico? I don't have any relatives in Mexico. I didn't cross the river crossed me. Right. That's right. What do you mean you didn't go visit your relatives? I don't have any relatives. How many times have you been to Mexico? I would have go to Mexico. How many times? There's no business in Mexico. So they kept on and on and on and on. And I said, by the way, I'm more American than you guys. And I was starting getting kind of tense. So they said, well, you say you never been to Mexico? I said, how many times have you been to Europe? No, wait a minute, where have you been? My point is just like you know who your relatives are in Europe. I don't know who my relatives are in Mexico. Bottom line is that I get higher conditions because you have to have this and that clear. I was doing all kinds of stuff that I really can't talk about. I was doing wiretaps and I was doing all kinds of other stuff. So 2 years later, they took out my office and said, hey, you're not clear. Why aren't you clear? I said, I've never been arrested. I've never been told. Been married to the same lady. I'm not an alcoholic. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I just don't know. I'm clear. I'm pretty clear. I'm sure you have to dig and you have found it. Well, tell you what. So the next day they come back and go, oh, they said that this space was filed. The things I told them, I said, oh, excuse me, Richard. But it is, next day I get clear the whole world. It's just, when you're talking about it, there's so many. There were fellas that worked with me as assistant U.S. attorney, and I know they've been arrested, and they got cleared in 3 months. It took me 3 years to be cleared, because I know they dug and dug and dug, and they said, well, I'll get off. I'm just I just want to thank, I just, I'm so, but there's just so many, we who went to school, there's a certain bond and that we have with each other. But this school gave us a great opportunity, and I'm so proud when I go up. When I go to different places, up and all over Mexico, Central America, South America, South America, representing the United States of America. And I was telling, by the way, I'm from Seguin, and I went to Juan Seguin Elementary, and I went to La Juan. I tell everybody, it's so proud of that. So anyway, thank y'all. God bless y'all. God bless America. Thank you.
Ruben, thank you. Yeah, go ahead. Karen? Karen Wallet? Yeah.
She had the tallest brother that we had ever seen. Look at us, how tall we are. Okay? Her brother comes in here to teach. He's 6'5".
I think it's 6'6" back then.
Yeah. And we're like, holy cow. All the kids are, we've never seen anybody that tall. He comes in and says, we have a basketball team. Well, at that point, we had already integrated with Furnace. So now we had the African American students over here, and Ray Davis, my good friend Ray Davis, Bernie was still a stubby little guy. Ray was taller than most. Frank Smith, I think was actually 6 foot tall. But her brother was a coach. And he's looking at it, and we're like, yeah, we don't want to get him upset because when he gets that paddle, I know. We're going to fly across the room when he gets us. But Mr. Hoffman he was one of the kind, and I got to say, he was so kind-hearted. He was soft-spoken, but when he did lower his voice, he didn't yell, but he lowered his voice. He got the point across. And when he said, we're gonna run laps during practice, we're like, yes, we are.
I can tell you 2 stories about him quickly. One was, this was his first job, so he was 22 years old or something when he started here. And he was the PE teacher for the elementary. And he gets all the kids a lesson here, because this was everything. And he says, all right, everybody take off your shoes and put them against the wall. Over there. Okay. Take off your shoes and put them against the wall. Well, it's time to go to the next thing. And he says, okay, put your shoes on. Those little kids did not have to tie their shoes. So, we're about 30 minutes late. So quickly they learned how to tie their shoes. But in 1968, Hemisphere opened. And Juan Seguin took their kids to Hemisphere. And my mother went with him because he didn't have enough mothers to go otherwise, so Mom went. And my dad had a stroke that day. And so my sister and I was in college, she was out of college. We got in the car, went to San Antonio, parked at the Denny's across there around Congress, I think it is, Houston, whatever, illegally, tow zone. And we walked across to the Hemisphere opening, and we said, we need to find our mother, there's this emergency, we need to get taken care of. And he's with, our mother is with this group of kids, little kindergarten, first grade kids, with a very tall man. He's right there. We didn't have to beg, we didn't have to do anything. We got her, it wasn't 30 seconds to get the car and come back. And that was 1968, April 24th, 1968. So these memories go back. A lot
And he was easy to find.
Yeah.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wants to share their experience? I love hearing these stories, the history of this place. I said complicated. that only begins to scratch the surface. The reason that the school was created, there's a certain level of shame that comes with having to segregate people based on race or ethnicity. But on the other side of that is this sense of community and pride that I hear coming from some of the stories that are being shared here. And I think about the words of Dr. De La Rosa and talking about what were the expectations of those teachers that they had for you that gave you something that allowed you to succeed and carry that over into life. Hopefully we can bridge that into where we are today and help some of these kids in a more broad way. Yes, sir, Ruben.
We were segregated, de facto segregated, but we didn't know we were segregated.
Love it.
We were all American kids. We watched Captain Kangaroo, we watched Roy Rogers, Sky Ranger, we had Davy Crockett, Coonskin Cats. We were segregated. We were all American kids, but I don't think we knew we were segregated. And I don't think we knew that we weren't American kids. I don't know how to explain it.
Darren, growing up next door to me, there was a family that he was their they were black. Larry spoke Spanish. I taught him to speak Spanish, and my English improved. He didn't blame me. We lived next door. Larry was Burgess. I'm here. We get in trouble for speaking Spanish here. Larry, first day of school, I think second grade, gets upset with one of the teachers, and he starts going at it in Spanish. Guess what happened to that poor kid? He is now a retired cardiologist in LA. Guess what part of LA? East. LA. And we keep in touch because he still remembers being punished at Burgess, which was an all-black school, because he spoke Spanish. And they didn't know what he was saying. And he didn't say nothing bad. When we got home, his mother punished him, and his grandmother punished him because he got in trouble in school. And he asked me, I said, what did you say? I told her she didn't know what she was talking about. I said, how'd you say it? Well, I'm not going to say the word he used. But he did get his point across. We would have understood, but the teacher didn't.
Yes, sir.
Gave me a chance to think about what I saw. When I was in the 6th grade, I could see migrant workers coming in. They were 15 and 16 years old in the 6th grade. And I knew that a lot of those never made it out of high school. We're so fortunate not being in those times where we had to go to Michigan. I had an opportunity to go 1 or 2 years with my uncle. And I'm just saying that we had some great parents like Ruben's parents, Ernest Poet, Susan. Susan was the greatest. And I was so fortunate to grow up with Ruben parents and their parents. Because she was like my second mother. And believe me, when she said something, we knew. And that's very good. This is all I have to say. My good friends, thank you for inviting me. It means a lot.
I want to
Thank you.
follow up on what he just said.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, talking about kids coming to school, one kid drove his car to school and parked it with a teacher that he was in the 6th grade. Oh my God. Right here. Parked it right there with a teacher.
That was,
Chuka.
so there was one guy that came through here when he finally got done. He got to junior high, and they were not going to let him in because he was 16. He said, "You're almost time to get drafted." He was going in 7th grade. By the time he got to 8th grade, he was 18, and guess where he ended up going? Not skiing high, Korea.
Wow.
He got drafted and got sent to Korea at the age of 18 with an 8th grade education. 8th grade education, all because of having to do that.
I work with a lot of people who are very elitist. And I tell them about the story about the 6th grade kid who drove his car to school. And they think I'm making it up because there's no way these people would understand.
Anybody else have a memory, a story, If not, that's a fitting place for us to end. No, I believe that story. What was his name? Chuka? Yeah, nobody knows. Nobody knows his real name. I want to say thank you. It is indeed an honor and a privilege to just sit here and listen to the amazing stories that you guys are sharing, those experiences, and helping us to better understand what it was like to be part of the history of Luana. So thank you for sharing that with us, and Ruben for always being here. Louis and Rick, I love you guys so much, and I appreciate you for being here today. Dr. De La Rosa, we can't thank you enough for an incredible message. You know, the work that your family has done and that you continue, and all of those who came before you, I mean, it's a living legacy that we saw in action today, with adults coming back to support something that they love. And it really is, I have a great deal of respect for that. And so I want to say thank you for that. We'll meet you again next year, and we'll do it all again as for our Juan Seguin reunion and Spring Fiesta. Thank you, everyone, for being here today.